Virtual reality technology is no longer science fiction. The battlespace exploration of mixed reality or Beamer Lab brings the virtual world to the warfighter to conduct simulated training, maintenance, and operations. Technological advances in virtual reality allow sailors to conduct training that may not be possible in the real world.
ONR's mission is to fund in fundamental science, applied science, and advanced science and technology to take the science that we're working on in the academic environment and bring it forward to the warfighter. Beamer is one of these advanced science and technology efforts that harvest the work we've done previously to bring it forward to the warfighter to show them what the future could be. This will be the norm interface in the future.
If you would like to learn more about augmented or virtual reality, visit the Office of Naval Research website. Welcome to All Hands Update. This is your week in Navy history. December 21st, 1861, Congress authorized the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military award. On the same day in 1968, Apollo 8 launched with Navy Captain James J. Lovell, Jr. as the command module pilot. During the mission, Lovell was one of the first people to see the far side of the moon. The mission lasted 6 days and 3 hours and included 10 moon orbits. Recovery was executed by HS-4 helicopters from USS Yorktown, CVS-10. On December 24, 1814, the Treaty of Ghent ended the War of 1812. Hostilities between Great Britain and the United States ceased, and Britain agreed to relinquish its claim to the Northwest Territory. The United States and Great Britain also pledged to work together to end the slave trade. To learn more about the Navy's history, visit the Naval History and Heritage Command's website. Welcome to All Hands Update. These are today's headlines. The Navy's pivot to the Pacific continues. The Navy announced Wednesday that 2 littoral combat ships, future USS Detroit and USS Montgomery, will call San Diego home. By 2020, approximately 60% of the Navy's ships and aircraft will be based in the Pacific region. If the CNO's Rapid Innovation Cell has its way, your detailing process will look very different in the future. The cell recently developed a prototype detailing system that resembles online employment-based social media sites. The goal is to assign sailors to jobs and commands that match their skill sets and interests. You can be a part of the CNO's Rapid Innovation Cell. Applications for the 2016 team are being accepted through January 31st. Interested applicants must be in pay grades 04 and below, including enlisted sailors in all communities. If you are interested in applying, visit the Navy's CRIC Facebook page. Read more about what's happening around your Navy at Navy.mil. In the midst of the holiday season, it's more important than ever to keep a sharp eye on your identity.
Well, the first thing I would recommend is you don't want to carry all your credit cards with you. Only carry the ones that you actually going to use. That way, if you lose your wallet or things like that, you don't have to deal with 10 or 11 credit cards. You want to check your statements and your billing daily if you use it a lot, at least weekly, and scrutinize every purchase. The new thing with the hackers is when they scam your information, they'll send a charge through for under $1. A lot of people may see that on their statement and just disregard it or blow it off. What happens is once that charge goes through, it tells them that the account is open and active, and then they begin to make other purchases, large dollar amount purchases.
Welcome to All Hands Update. These are today's headlines. The submarine tender Emory S. Land is shifting home ports from Diego Garcia to Naval Base Guam. Land will join USS Frank Cable to support the 4 fast attack submarines based in Guam, as well as any submarines operated in the Pacific Fleet Area of Responsibility. The Office of Naval Research is trying to get to the bottom of why Navy divers are severely exhausted after conducting routine underwater missions. ONR researchers speculate that too much oxygen or hyperoxia may be behind that fatigue. To learn more about how ONR is improving the lives of sailors, visit their website. The deadline for officers to get an exemption to policy for Joint Experience Credit is drawing near. A special Joint Qualification System panel will meet in February to evaluate joint experiences outside of the traditional 12-month requirement. Officers have until January 15 to submit requests for this special panel. For these stories and more, visit Navy.mil. The crew of USS Jackson brought the ship to life before a crowd of nearly 10,000 people December 5th in Gulfport, Mississippi. It is the first ship to bear the name of Mississippi's capital city. The name held a special meaning for many of those at the commissioning. Just like Secretary of the Navy and Mississippi native, Ray Mabus was on hand at the ceremony to deliver his remarks. The brand new 417-foot ship weighs in at 3,100 tons. It can travel at speeds in excess of 40 knots. Senator Thad Cochran's daughter, Dr. Kate Cochran, was the ship's sponsor. Jackson will be home ported at Naval Base San Diego. For the crew, the commissioning was the accumulation of 3 years of hard work. Its modular design will support interchangeable mission packages, allowing the ship to be reconfigured for anti-submarine warfare, mine warfare, or surface warfare missions on an as-needed basis. The Navy's newest and largest destroyer, the future USS Zumwalt, is at sea for the first time. Zumwalt is currently undergoing sea trials designed to test many of the advances and new features that are the hallmarks of this revolutionary ship. To learn more about Zumwalt and what makes it unique, visit the Naval Sea Systems Command website. CNO Admiral John Richardson released a podcast describing what he considers to be the Navy's core attributes: integrity, accountability, initiative, and toughness. To hear his thoughts, you can download the full podcast from Navy.mil or from iTunes. Each year, World War II veterans from the U.S. and Japan gather to remember their fallen comrades. During the Blackened Canteen ceremony at the USS Arizona Memorial, they pour bourbon whiskey into the water as an offering of friendship, forgiveness, and peace. This event traditionally begins the Pearl Harbor anniversary ceremonies. For these stories and more, visit Navy.mil. At the U.S. Naval Academy, future Navy leaders are trained to become the top-of-the-line officers that the fleet demands. One midshipman in particular, Keenan Reynolds, not only displays his leadership skills in the classroom, but also on the football field.
I think that it's a lot of the same things. There's a lot of principles that, go on the football field that apply in the fleet. I mean, first and foremost, being a quarterback, it's decision-making, and then having to take responsibility for your decision. You may not always make the right decision, but you are the guy, you are the leader, and you have to take responsibility. So as an officer out in the fleet, when you're leading sailors and Marines, every decision you make has to be accounted for. You have to take responsibility for it. So that's something that I've kind of been reflecting on this whole year.
Keenan Reynolds recently broke the record for career rushing touchdowns. On behalf of the Navy, go Navy, beat Army. French Rear Admiral René-Jean Crenola assumed command of U.S. Naval Forces Central Command's Task Force 50. Crenola, embarked in the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle, is leading naval strike operations to destroy the ISIL terrorist organization. Former President George W. Bush will serve as the Invictus Games 2016 honorary chairman. The announcement came at the USS Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum during a sitting volleyball demonstration. The Invictus Games bring together more than 500 wounded, ill, and injured competitors from 15 nations to compete in 10 adaptive sports. If you are a female sailor and are interested in serving on submarines, the deadline for submitting an application is coming soon. Applications must be received no later than December 15th for consideration. To see the current list of requirements, go to the Enlisted Women in Submarines website. For these stories and more, visit Navy.mil. Welcome to All Hands Update. These are your headlines from around the fleet. Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus announced the Department of the Navy will award the Purple Heart to 5 Marines and 1 sailor who were killed or injured in the July 16th attack in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The awards come after the FBI and NCIS investigation determined the attack was inspired by a foreign terrorist group, satisfying the criteria for the award. The Navy and Air Force broke ground on Florida's largest solar projects Wednesday. The 3 large solar power facilities will have approximately 1.5 million solar panels, generating enough energy to power nearly 18,000 homes. The Navy anticipates these solar plants will be operational by December 2016. You can read more about what's happening around your Navy at Navy.mil. Welcome to All Hands Update. This is your week in Navy history. December 14th, 1944, the rank of Fleet Admiral or 5-star Admiral of the U.S. Navy is established during World War II due to the rapid buildup of U.S. military forces. The first 5-star admirals were William D. Leahy, Ernest J. King, and Chester W. Nimitz. Admiral William F. Halsey joined the selected group December 11th, 1945. On December 16, 1907, by the order of President Theodore Roosevelt, the Great White Fleet departed Hampton Roads, Virginia to circumnavigate the world in 14 months, a journey of 43,000 miles that included 20 port calls across 6 continents. 14,000 sailors and Marines participated in the voyage aboard 16 battleships and various escort ships, leaving a lasting legacy at home and abroad. If you would like to learn more about these facts and the Navy's history, visit the Naval History and Heritage Command's website. Welcome to All Hands Update. These are your headlines from around the fleet. The Department of Homeland Security launched the If You See Something, Say Something campaign to help raise awareness of suspicious activity and the importance of reporting to law enforcement. This same approach is now being applied to the cyber domain to protect Navy systems. Military leaders from Saudi Arabia visited USS Harry S. Truman to foster a strong partnership between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. The two countries, along with several other partner nations, recently conducted sustained coordinated maritime security operations in the Arabian Gulf. As the 21 days of fitness continues, it is time to look forward to making a New Year's resolution. What better time than now to quit smoking? The American Cancer Society has many tips and tricks on how to succeed in your plan to quit smoking. For more information on how to start the road to quitting, visit the Navy Medicine Live blog. For these stories and more, visit Navy.mil. Welcome to All Hands Update. Here are today's headlines from around the fleet. Training is a way of life in the Navy. Making access to that training easier will help sailors, their commands, and the Navy as a whole. You can now access Navy e-learning without going through any portals or gateways. To access Navy e-learning directly, visit this website. Today's 21 Days of Fitness topic is about something we've all dealt with: stress. Your health, thoughts, emotions, sleep, diet, and behavior can all be affected by stress. The effects of stress build over time, so you may not even realize that it's happening. You may think that you are having an off day, when really your body is being stressed more than it can cope with. To learn better ways to cope with the stressors in your life, visit the Navy Medicine Live blog. If you would like to know more about what's happening around your Navy, visit Navy.mil. Welcome to All Hands Update. These are today's headlines from around the fleet. USS Nimitz is staying in Bremerton, Washington through fiscal year 2019. This decision avoids the possibility of 3 home port changes in 4 years for the carrier's 3,100 sailors and their families. Big changes are coming to the senior enlisted Seabee community. Senior Chief Builder, Engineering Aide, and Steelworker ratings will be combined into the Construction Man rating. The goal is to improve advancement opportunity, career diversity, and duty assignments for sailors in these ratings. Today's 21 Days of Fitness is about the #1 killer of men and women in the United States: heart disease. This epidemic claims nearly 600,000 lives each year. At least 1/3 of these deaths were preventable. Lifestyle choices directly impact your heart health, so take time to visit the Navy Medicine Live blog to learn what you can do to keep your heart healthy. Read more about what's happening around your Navy at Navy.mil.